What is up? Impromptu open mic night. Why? Because I can. Why not? Nah, it's been a hell of a time at camp this last week, and I figured I wanted to get everybody else's thoughts. What are y'all thinking? How do you think we do as content creators or the journalists that are on the sideline? How do you think everybody does reporting what's going on at camp? Do you feel like you get an accurate picture of what's going on there? What are your thoughts based on what you're hearing? How do you take in that information? Do you go channel to channel to channel and take in as much as possible? I'm curious. I want to hear from y'all. What are your thoughts on camp, especially those that may not have been there? What is the picture that's being painted for you? And then what are you looking forward to this weekend? Obviously, if you have other things that you want to talk about, you definitely can. But we're going to play this intro and we'll get to y'all in just a minute. All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. I can't even say my own intro. I'm so excited. That's the way tonight is going to go. That being said, link is pinned to the top of the chat. Make sure you call in early. We do this every show. Every time there's a call in, there's almost nobody waiting in the beginning. And then everybody at the same time decides that they want to talk. They want to get their takes off. It's like it just takes that one person and then everybody wants to call in. So remember, you have 5 minutes to get your take off, which means if you are fifth in line, we're talking about a 25-minute wait. Call in now, get your takes off, and then go chill in the comment section and see what everybody else is talking about. That being said, I'm going to go to my man, Chris, who's waiting patiently. What's up, Chris?
Hey, how are you? Let me go
I'm
ahead
doing
and
good, man. How are you? Oh, yeah, good idea. Actually, hey, bounce out and come back in. Your mic is like cutting out, okay?
How about now? Is it better?
It's just a little shaky. I don't think it's your fault. I think it's StreamYard. So if you leave and come back in, it should be fine.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
All right. All right, we'll pull him out of here. Give him a second, and then we'll go back to him. How's the chat doing tonight? How are y'all? You're a channel hopper, he says. Chris Sims, the biggest Lance hater. I can think of a few more. I got a few off the top of my head that might hate him more. What's up, Trevor? Any word on Bosa? No word on Bosa. That's a good question, though. At what point do you start to get worried about Bosa? Is there a point? Does it have to be like preparation for week one and he's not there before you start to get worried? I don't know. Brock Purdy went to a high school in Chandler, Arizona. Yep, about 10 minutes from my house. I bet he was a baller in high school. I bet you had fun watching him play in high school for sure. Anytime you can get an NFL quarterback and then you watch them play in high school. I don't know how many of you remember Derek Anderson in the NFL. He wasn't that great in the NFL, but in college or Oregon State, he was a baller. And in high school, Andy was a hooper. Different kind of athletes for sure. All right, let's see if Chris's audio is fixed here. What's up, Chris?
Hey, is it better now?
It's better-ish. It's good enough. Let's roll with it.
Okay. All right. As long as it's good enough. I know my car and it's goddamn hot and shit over here. So, first things first. No, I'm not worried about Bosa. Bosa's a businessman. They're gonna get the deal done. If it were me, I probably would have traded him and gotten rid of him before they got to this point, because Bosa hasn't gotten it done for them, right? He's always disappeared when they've needed him the most, and paying quarterback money for a guy who isn't going to be there when you need him to be there is, it's what they did with Debo. You don't need Debo, you don't need him. I don't know. This is probably the least excited I've been in a long time coming up for a Niners season, and it all has to do with that. With this quarterback, quote unquote, competition, right? I get Brock Purdy should be the starter. He earned it. He did what he did. He earned it. I'm fine with that. But then to not give Trey any reps during training camp, well, I don't want to say not give him any reps, but to split it 3 ways when, I don't know, everybody knows Darnold's not the guy. You know Darnold's not the guy. I know Darnold's not the guy. And I don't know. It's just like, it's the least exciting. If Brock goes down and Trey's still on the team, which I doubt is going to happen, I think Trey's done. I think they're going to trade him before the deadline or during preseason when somebody goes down, because somebody will unfortunately go down. And you've got teams that are going to be quarterback needy and will want someone like Trey. And
you think so? So you think Trey's going to be the odd man out on this roster right now?
I think Trey is the odd man out. I think Trey's been the odd man out for any number of reasons, but right now, with what I just watched a little bit of Cone and Larry, of Grant and Larry, and with what Kyle said over the weekend, yeah, Kyle is bought into Brock. Lynch is bought into Brock. If that's the way it is, then, that's the way it is. And right now, Trey's a commodity, which is why I think they're hyping him up a little bit too. You can get something for the kid. And that's probably what they should do at this point. Let him have a chance somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been my point, is if Brock Purdy's your guy, I mean, I don't agree with that. I would play Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, this is just me personally, I haven't seen, I don't think that Brock's skill set is good enough to override the potential of Trey Lance and wanting to see that through before I'm willing to throw it away. But if the 49ers are willing to do that, and it definitely sounds like they are, then move on from Trey Lance. The whole point is once you choose a franchise guy, you don't then have somebody behind them that fans can clamor for. Why even put him in that situation? So if you've chosen Brock, it sounds like they have, then move on from Trey. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I really think that he's on his way out, whether it's because of a trade or, they don't pick up his 5th-year option or, I don't know. I can see him and Brandon Ayuk not being on the team next year. I really see that happening. I mean, Brandon will hit, 1,000 yards this year, 10 yards at a time like he did last year, but he's too good for that. That's somebody, any wide receiver, any 3rd-round wide receiver, Jennings can hit 1,000 yards, 10 yards at a time if they throw to him. I don't know. I'm just not excited for this season. I think that they handled the offseason really poorly. I mean, I don't know. I think they were actually like this close to trading Trey to Minnesota at the draft. I think some of those reports were correct. I think that Minnesota wanted more for Cousins than the Niners were willing to give up. And, I don't want Cousins either, but he's going to be better than Brock. I just don't see Brock. Brock's a starter. At least that's what he's demonstrated, but I don't think he's a Super Bowl winning starting quarterback. He's not Nick Foles, where Nick Foles wasn't really a starting level quarterback, but he came in and threw for 4,000 yards, right? Brock isn't going to throw 4,000 yards. Kyle's not going to allow it to happen in this offense. It'll be 4,000 yards on the ground and, 2,000 in the air with the way that Kyle runs the offense.
You talked about Ayuk. If the 49ers have to make a decision between Ayuk and Debo, who are you keeping?
Me, I would keep Ayuk. I would feature Ayuk. I would feature Kittle, and I would feature, whatever running. You have to feature McCaffrey. I wasn't a big fan of the trade, but you can't deny the results of that trade.
Oh, yeah, I love that trade.
And I would, if I were Lynch and I were a GM that was on top of, like, the real boss like they're supposed to be, I would fine Kyle every time he runs him up the middle. But I would keep Ayuk. I would do whatever you could to keep CMC. I would have Trey. I would rebuild that offensive line while you have them. I would get rid of Bosa and rebuild that offensive line, because the defensive line isn't going to win in the Super Bowl. We already seen that how many times now? That this number 1 defense is enough in the regular season, but is not enough in the playoffs. They got lucky. They won They beat Green Bay. I know I'm running out of time. They beat Green Bay because of a lucky special teams play. They beat Dallas because of a lucky Kittle catch. It wasn't the throw; it was the catch. And then Dak being Dak when they needed him to be Dak. The rest of it is just, they weren't going to beat Philly last year, even with a healthy Brock. That they were just on a tear.
Yeah, I do think like a lot of people just assumed that Philly was going to get beat. Like I feel like the leap from that, the Brock Purdy getting injured was like, oh well, if he was healthy, we would have won the Super Bowl. It's like, well, hold on, you still had to beat Philly, who was a good team, and then you would have had to beat
Right.
Kansas City, which who
And
knows what would have happened there. Chris, I gotta
it's
let you go, brother.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
All
I
right, man. Thank
appreciate
you.
you calling in, man.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
All right, later. Yeah, the for me the Bosa thing is, I think we're at a position where Bosa, you have to pay Bosa. But if you could have traded him as an asset to potentially get an elite quarterback this offseason, let's say Lamar Jackson, then I would have traded Bosa. But at this point, it's too late. Like now you got to pay him. It is what it is. So we'll see how it goes, man. Appreciate him for kicking it off. All right. Somebody asked about the Steve Young helmet. It's actually up here. I'm waiting on the case. It's at the very, very top. So I don't know. I mean, what do I take off? I got Joe Montana and the helmet. He says on the helmet, I left my heart in San Francisco and then signed it. That's a pretty dope signature, right? And then we got Kittle and we got Ronnie Lott. I mean, who do I replace? Kittle probably, but I don't know if it can fit here, and it definitely won't fit there. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, we're gonna go to Sersky and then Jaybird. What's up, Sersky?
Yo, what up, Jess? What's going on, my guy?
Hey, not much, man. How you doing?
Oh, chilling, man. But nah, man, I just wanted to, I ain't been on in a minute. I just wanted to give my, 2 cents of what's going on at camp. Hold on, let me turn this off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what are you washing vegetables over there? What's going on?
Oh no, I had turned the shower on, man. My bad. But yeah, man. I people need to just stop with the Trey Lance thing. Trey Lance is not getting traded, man. Like I get it, but at the same time, bro, like if you trade Trey, all you got is Brock, right? And Brock is coming off of a arm injury, and we don't know, how Brock is going to be week one. All we know right now that he's ready. He's been doing well at camp, so he's ready to go week one. But we don't know how that arm is going to be. When the season starts. Plus, you got Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold. I mean, I can't knock Sam. He's having a good camp, but we all know who Sam Darnold is, bro. Like, he is who he is. And then you got Brandon Allen. Now, if the organization is smart, and if we're smart about it, we would want Brandon Allen gone because Brandon Allen hasn't been doing nothing in camp. His stats has been bad. He's just been flat out awful. I mean, I don't even know why Brandon Allen is still around. Uh, I predict him being off the team, but they're not getting rid of Trey. And plus, he's only played 3.5 games. I don't see any value for any team to get him. Unless the team is very desperate and they go that direction. But no, I mean anybody in their right mind know right now you're not getting rid of Lance. And then on top of that, due to our history, we have a history of our quarterbacks getting injured. So do you really want to go into the season with Brock? God forbid he gets hurt, and then you got Donald. He is who he is, and then Brandon Allen. Like that's not a good scenario. The notion of trading Trey Lance, that's just crazy. Also, the Purdy thing. I'm like I'm with you, Jesse. I prefer Trey. Trey has been here the whole offseason, and Brock has gotten back a few weeks ago, and Trey has a whole offseason. It's 3 years with the team, knows the offense, this, that, and the third. But we've been in spaces and we've been saying that Brock Purdy has been inconsistent with his long balls. Now, now the thing is, I've been hearing that Kyle Shanahan doesn't need Brock Purdy to throw the long ball because his system operates off short to immediate throws. And people have been saying, well, Kyle Shanahan only throws deep, only 5% of the offense. That may be the case, but if Kyle Shanahan needs a quarterback to make that deep throw, you got to come through and make that deep throw. Now, we've seen Brock do it before, not taking that from him because we have seen him do it this season, but Brock, as of late, has been underthrowing balls, you know? So if I'm the organization, I get it. Brock is the week one starter, but I mean, I don't know, bro. Like, I prefer Trey. Trey has the higher upside. He's young. He has the higher upside, and he makes those long ball throws. So we've seen it. And Trey has been improving on the short passing game. He had a little hiccups here and there, but it's been way better than it has been the previous years he's been there. And we seen it firsthand when he first got there that he struggled on short passing throws. But you know, you and others that been out there, you said in his spaces that he's been very good with his short ball game. So if the organization wanted him to work on his short ball game and now he's improving on it, I mean, why not give him a shot? I mean, I like Brock, but I don't think Brock is the future. I really don't. And if the organization feel like Trey is that guy, you got to get Eggman his reps. You got to get him reps with the first team because if Brock goes down, you got to have Trey in there. So you got to have Trey to go in there, and he has to have those reps with his teammates. So when he goes in there, he'll have that chemistry with the team with his teammates already, and they can go ahead and keep the offense rolling. But other than that, man, I really just don't see Brock being the future for this team. I know he's the week one starter, but I really don't think he's that guy that can go up against a Mahomes in the AFC, a Burrow, a Lamar Jackson. You know, those big dog guys in the AFC. I'm not saying that Trey can, but Kyle can do a whole lot more with Trey. He can do a whole lot more with Trey. And Trey don't even have to be the guy to make the play. He can just be in there and just be a decoy, and that can confuse defenses. But you can't with Brock. You already know the scenario with Brock. Defenses know the scenario with Brock. I mean, Brock is not a threat to an offense to me. That's just how I feel. But that's all I wanted to say. Just chime in on that, man, and love your show, man. Just keep grinding and see you in spaces, bro.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you soon, Sersky.
All right.
Hey. My man Sersky, Twitter Space King, no doubt about it. Mufti says Bosa's better than Lamar. Yeah, I mean, I would say Bosa's a better defensive end than Lamar is quarterback, but who impacts the game more? Does the guy who makes on a good game 5 impactful plays a game impact the game more than a guy who touches the ball 40 to 45 times a game? Right? Like, that's the way that you got to look at it. Bosa doesn't impact the game more than Lamar Jackson. Not even close. He can't. It's a sheer number standpoint. Come on, man. Quarterback's the most important position in football for a reason. It's the highest paid position. It's the highest drafted position. If you're a top 10 quarterback, you're more important than any defensive end on the field. It's just the way it goes. So, like I said, Bosa on his best day impacts maybe 5 to 7 plays a game. If Lamar Jackson's on, well, first of all, he's touching the ball every time every offensive snap. So we're talking 40 plus times a game, roughly. And then he's impacting 20 to 30 plays a game. So yeah, I mean, it's a sheer number standpoint. All right, we're going to go to Jaybird. Then we're going to go to JR. What's up, Jaybird?
What's good? Do I sound well?
You sound very well, yes.
That's great. All right, so I just wanted to talk about a little bit of expectation in terms of quarterback play this year.
Yeah.
So you know how when Jimmy came in 2017, he came in when CJ Beathard got hurt, right? And he came in, he made some crazy plays. He was making audibles. He was running out the pocket, throwing these, tight window throws and everything, right? And it was the craziest thing we ever seen, right? And so, a couple years, fast forward a little bit, Brock Purdy comes in and does kind of the same thing, right? Goes on a winning streak, just like Jimmy G. And then that next year, Jimmy G gets hurt, whatever. And then even in 2019, Jimmy G became a lot more limited. And I feel like it was to do with Kyle Shanahan and his ego. in terms of because like when the way Jimmy was playing, we were winning those games because Jimmy and not so much of Kyle, right? And it's the same thing with Brock, right? We want a lot of those games because of the way Brock played and the extended plays and things like that, and went off schedule and made audibles, changed the whole play on Kyle, right? And then so obviously Kyle didn't like that, he changed it with Jimmy. And then so do you think that Kyle will do the same thing to Brock this year in terms of just now going off schedule and things like that? What do you think about that?
No, I mean, I think it's a really good point. And there was a press conference. I don't remember if it was OTAs. It was sometime in there where Brock Purdy talked and he said that he needs to do a better job playing within Kyle's system.
Yeah.
And I heard that and I said, okay, well, on one hand, that's good because, yeah, he needs to learn to step up in the pocket and hit the on-time throws when they come open. He needs to improve on those things. Yeah, he needs to improve those things. However, then the other part of me said, hold on a second. If you hog tie this man and take away his greatest intangibles, is he still the same guy? And if he's not, then that kind of kills the reason that you would have Brock Purdy be your quarterback. So, yeah, man, I hear what you're saying for sure.
Is he good within the system and playing how the system wants him to play, right? Because a lot of his success was going off of what the system told him to do. You know what I'm saying? And then so I'm sure, and Kyle didn't stop him that year because he needed it to win. Because if he lost that year and they were losing all those games, then we would have looked a lot more worse, and Kyle would have looked a lot more worse, and maybe even in like the hot seat. You know what I'm saying? And so another question I have in regards to that, let's say Brock gets hurt or Brock gets benched, whatever, right? Brock goes out this season and Trey goes in after Brock was the starter, right? Do you still see Kyle using Trey in a more limited way like how he was last year, or do you think he'll open it up more and he can kind of use his abilities in terms of throwing the ball downfield and his arm talent?
Well, if Trey ends up playing, I got to imagine they use him more like a quarterback. They have to at this point. He's seen, first of all, he's seen him get injured. Second of all, if you look at training camp, everything has been from the pocket. Trey is not running the ball hardly ever. So they're developing him right now as a quarterback.
Do you know if Trey was doing more running things last offseason in training camp? Do you know about that?
Well, I know this. They definitely mixed in some of that zone read. And then also he was taking off a lot more. So, some of it's probably on Kyle, but some of it's also on him just being more developed.
Just showing him that he was doing that a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's all I got for you. I thought I'd jump in real quick.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Call in anytime.
Of course. Yes, sir.
Later. It's a good call. And it's a good point. I mean, I definitely heard that first press conference with Brock Purdy. I was like, I like it. But also, if he's not able to be himself, that kind of takes away from Brock Purdy. Is that really what we want? Because I think we want Brock Purdy to play off schedule a little bit. That's what made him good. We want him to use some of his intangibles. That's what makes him good. You don't want to turn him into if you turn him in to a guy that hits his first progression every time and stays in the pocket and doesn't move around and doesn't do some of the off schedule, off script stuff, then you really do have Jimmy G. Like that's really who you've got. You don't want that. You don't want Jimmy G. There's a reason Jimmy G's gone. You want Brock to be Brock. So there's a fine line that you have to toe with that. Yes, you want to rein him in. You want him to improve in certain areas. You want him to play a little bit more on schedule and you want him to step up in the pocket. Those things are all true. But you also want him to have the ability to do what he does best, and that's move around and make plays. So it's a catch-22. We'll see what happens. What's up, JR?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. But I like to apologize at first because I know you got just a bunch of quarterback questions, and I have another quarterback question. So I know we're all tired of the quarterback stuff, but I'm not.
People say they are, but that's all. I mean, you look at the chat; that's all it is. So you can say you're tired of it, but that's not what the reflection shows. So
yeah, for sure. But I just had a question. So you were at camp for 5 days, right?
Yes, sir.
Were you at camp last year?
No.
Okay, no. All right. So, but maybe you can still answer this. But I was just wondering if you take away like the whole context of the situation, like let's just strictly focusing on Trey. Do you, because at least from what I see in reports like this year and from what I can remember last year, it really does feel like as just him individually that Trey has improved as a quarterback. like he's hitting, like he's a lot. You hear or see people tweet that he's a lot more comfortable and all that. You see the clips that's coming out, you know. So I was just wondering, and from your eyes, since you were there at camp, do you feel like he, as an individual quarterback, has improved?
Yeah, and I asked people around me that were at camp and asked them their opinion. I'm like, listen, to me, it seems like he's hitting his back foot. He's throwing on time. He seems very decisive. What are you seeing? And they said, yeah, this is the best that he's looked by far. And these were people that were at camp either last year or both of the last 2 years, saying that he looks the best that he's ever looked. And I would say, it's practice versus games, but to me, he definitely was playing on schedule. In fact, of the 3 quarterbacks that seemed to be a slow processor, that was Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold sits back there and like goes through his reads and doesn't make quick decisions. And Trey has that from time to time, but I would say 90% of the time, he's dropping back and he's making a decision and he's going, which is good to see. That's what you want to see. The question was never, could Trey process? It was, could Trey trust what he's processing? Trey's always been able to process. He's always been able to go through his reads. It shows up all over film. And people confuse his lack of decisiveness for saying he can't process or he can't read a defense. None of that is true. He just doesn't trust what he's seeing. And a lot of that is he just doesn't know what he can do yet. He doesn't know what he can get away with at the NFL level because he hasn't played. But this year, you're seeing him go through that process, make quick decisions, and be decisive. So, yeah, I would say he's definitely improved.
Yeah, I know I got a minute left, but also one more thing.
Yeah.
So I think we all know that Brock is probably going to be the starter week 1. But
For
in
sure.
terms of what Trey can do in the preseason, like what can he be in control of in terms or like what can the preseason do for him? Because do you think he can, maybe be in control of like the length of the leash that Kyle has for Brock, just in case like Brock does struggle? Like what can Trey be in control of? Because we all know he's probably not going to be the week 1 starter, but what can he control during this preseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he can control playing the best football that he can. And if he does that, that definitely puts pressure on the 49ers and Brock Purdy. Here's what I've said is Brock Purdy yes, he's going to be the starter and he's not competing for the week 1 job. That's understandable. I get that based off of last year. But week in and week out, he has to continue to show that he's the guy. He has to prove that. He's only got a small sample size. Although it's good, he has to continue to show that he's that guy and making improvements himself. And if he starts taking steps backwards and isn't doing the things that he needs to do, but Trey is ascending, then eventually that may force their hand. So Trey just has to be the best version of himself and show that he is ascending. And there's nothing he can control as far as being the starter or overtaking that job. As long as Brock's doing what he needs to do, he's going to continue to be the starter. But the moment he starts backsliding, if that happens, and Trey showed that he's ascending, now he's put himself in a position to maybe force their hand. So I think it comes down more to Brock as far as whether Brock continues to start or not. However, Trey needs to play well in order to force their potential hand.
All right, for sure. Thanks for the input, Jesse.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, man.
Yep.
Later. Chad Hart, Arizona, Seattle Seahawks fan. Because we know there's no Cardinals fans. Jesse, that was awesome teaming up with Hawks Nest. Well, I appreciate you for coming over and checking us out. It's good to know your enemy. It is good to know your enemy. No doubt about it. So I appreciate you for tapping in. I always have a ton of fun going on with Brandon. He's a good guy. What's up, CarCast? How you doing? All right. We're going to go to David, then Monsa, then Paul. What's up, David?
What's up, bud? How are you doing today?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for all your coverage, everything you do on Twitter, everything you do on YouTube. We appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate your insights. I'm a Trey fan. I mean, I like you, like a lot of people. I'm just still irritated at this management. I really am. When you sit back and look at it, Trey came back from a season-ending injury, worked his way back, and then I understand Purdy deserved it. He did what he did, deserves all the credit, QB1. But for Trey to come back and be told that he's now in a QB2, QB3 competition and splitting up with Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen, it's a complete mismanagement of Trey Lance. They're doing him a disservice. If they don't want him on the team, let him go develop somewhere else. You know, it's just extremely frustrating to see the way that they've handled him throughout this whole process. What other third overall draft pick, franchise quarterback that you traded the farm for, you went up there and got him because he was your quarterback, then comes back from injury and is told that you're splitting QB2 reps with Sam Darnold? You might not. It's just ridiculous. And the same thing they did to Trey last year by handing him the job and, telling the team that it's his. And look what happened. And they're doing the same thing with Brock. It's like, do they not learn? Do they not see what just happened? The whole team wasn't, and we don't really know. We don't know who the team is really supporting, If we go with Brock, yeah, we're going with Brock, He is the QB1. Do these players feel that their stats will be limited in these games? Does Brandon Ayuk's not going to be a 1,500-yard receiver with Brock Purdy? I mean, he's not. Brock Purdy will get you 250 yards a game. He'll complete short passes. The yards after catch might be there, but it's the same offense we've had for the last 6 years. It's good enough for the regular season, but once we get into the playoffs, once these defenses start scheming for these types of plays, it's deja vu all over again, man. It's frustrating. And Trey has improved drastically. I mean, it's just been a shit show, It's like they come out and they say Purdy has a schedule, and they tell everybody he's fully cleared, but then he doesn't practice first game. Then it's 2 days on, 2 days off. Next times it's 3 days on. It's like, why tell people the schedule that you have if you're not even going to abide by the schedule? It's frustrating. It's frustrating being a Trey fan. Brock fans, cool, Brock deserves it, and that's the difference. Trey fans aren't going to insult Brock. They're not going to bash him. They're not going to say negative things about him every day that he throws an interception. We're not there. A few of us are. I ain't going to lie. Some people do it. But the majority of 49ers fans and Trey fans and Brock fans, it's not like that. We support our team, but Trey throws one interception or goes 3 for 7. It's like he's not even getting a fair shot out there with all the players. We haven't seen him much with McCaffrey, not much with Debo and Kittle, just a few with Ayuk. It's just like, let's just keep holding him down. And if something happens to Purdy, he'll be there to show us what he could do with not many reps with those first team guys. It's a crapshoot, man. And it's frustrating being a Trey Lance fan because this organization has just done him a disservice. So thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I here's where I'm going to completely agree with you and say that, it's one thing to, I'm going to pull him out of the stream here, but it's one thing to say that Purdy's a starter. I don't think anybody's really arguing that point at this point. I mean, most people are like, yeah, I get it. Like, he played good, of course. Like, let Purdy start and see where it goes. Nobody really has an issue with that. But then it's like, oh, okay, but now you're competing with Sam Darnold. Like, wait, what? Who? What the hell's going on? And I saw somebody say in the chat, like, oh, go beat out Sam Darnold. He's playing better than Sam Darnold in practice almost every fucking day. I was there. I watched it. Like, what are we saying? And he hasn't even played any games. It's funny because if Brock Purdy earned the starting job through 8 games, then Sam Darnold earned not the second string through 56 starts. Like, it goes both ways. You've earned what you've earned by playing. Trey, we know nothing about. He hasn't played enough. We have no idea. If Brock Purdy earned being the starter through his 8 starts, then Sam Darnold earned not being ahead of Trey Lance through his 56. Like, this goes both ways. All right? Like, that's where I don't understand the whole thing. That's where you lose me. And if Trey's not your guy, then quit hedging your bets, 49ers. Trade him. Trade him. If he ain't it, and you're saying he ain't it, then trade him. There should be nothing that you're worried about. Like, what's the point of hanging on to him at this point? You're hedging your bet. That's why. It's a total hedge of the bet. That's the only reason. the only reason. So it just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. All right, we're gonna go to Monza and then Paul and then Drippy Dad. What's up, Monza?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm good. How was your trip?
It was good, man. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Actually, I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, you look like you were. Yeah, so do you remember the interview with Matt Mayoko and Steve Young?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, do you remember when he said let Brock cook?
Yeah.
Do you think that was a message at Kyle? Because he's definitely not going to sit up there and say that like the fans don't have any control over Brock cooking. But everybody's, he needs to spend more time in the pocket. And then you hear his QB coach, he needs to stay in the pocket. Well, that's not letting him cook. Do you think that was a message for Kyle?
Steve's funny. And I love Steve, obviously. I just got his signature. I can't wait to display it and whatever. He's my favorite player of all time. But I think sometimes like these guys get on and they talk to talk. Like,
yeah.
What here's the thing is, for a fact he has an opinion on these quarterbacks. He has an opinion on these quarterbacks, but he's not giving you his real opinion. He sat up there and like basically told you how much he loved all three of them the same. I love Brock Purdy. Let him cook. I mean, Trey just deserves a chance. And Sam, I mean, what are you supposed to do? He played with the Jets. Like, okay, bro, you have an opinion that one of these guys isn't good. Just be real. But they're not willing to do that. You know what I mean?
Right. So I'm feeling that they did move off. They were done with Trey before he came into the offseason looking good. I think it's pretty evident and clear that, they were ready to just be done with him. And then they got to look at him like, okay, well, let's see how that works out. But the 49ers are doing the same thing they did with Jimmy, whereas you're holding on to him, you're tanking his value. And then the way that you're going through camp and the way that you're going through this process, you're tanking his value. Oh, he's in a competition with Sam Darnold. Well, shit, who's going to want to give you something for him? Who's going to want to give you compensation for Trey? And then at the same time, if something should happen to Brock, he starts playing bad. I hope doesn't get hurt. Or if he were to get injured, Trey still doesn't have experience. Like it looks like they've screwed themselves this year. Like this whole process has me thinking that, like, dude, this isn't going to be a conference title championship. This isn't going to be a conference title appearance year, and it's starting to feel like that. It's like they almost needed to be humbled because they're kind of, what's the word coach uses? They're just full of hubris. And I don't know, man. I just think the football guys are going to humble them this year. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know, man. It's just,
I mean, the thing is, and I've been hearing stuff like this lately. I just don't know what's going to stop them from being really good. You know what I mean? Like, who out there has to be a team that's going to do it. And I will say this. I think Seattle is going to be an interesting matchup with the 49ers. And I say that, and we're not going to know till later in the season. And I say that because they've played Brock twice now. Like, if anybody knows what it takes to beat him, it's them.
Yeah.
Last year, they didn't have the horses to get it done. This year, they went out and they got players to try to win that division. And I feel like they've probably got the horses to incorporate what they want to incorporate. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be successful, but that's the one team that really interests me, because if they play the 49ers twice and then get them again in the postseason, that'll be their fifth time playing Brock Purdy.
Right.
I'm just curious to see how that might play out. Like, they're the one team that I could see maybe the 49ers running into before the NFC Championship that might make it interesting. I think the 49ers, I mean, they've got it. Nobody's a lock, but man, I feel like they're almost a lock for the NFC Championship.
I'm looking at Detroit. It sounds like, I'm telling you, man, I'm looking at Detroit. Detroit has the like, our strength is our D-line. Everybody knows that. And Detroit has an offensive line to neutralize it. They do. Yep. I mean, how many teams have a tackle that can take Bosa by himself all game? Sewell can take Bosa by himself all game. He did it before. So, and I know we incorporated a new blitz scheme, but yeah, man, if that defense isn't elite, I don't see us making it. That defense is going to have to be top 3 in committing turnovers and top 3 defense. It's going to have to be great. defense is going to have to be sensational, is what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the 49ers have really, it comes down to injury to me. It's just all about staying healthy. I mean, this is what keeps the 49ers in it, and this is what could take him out of it. And it could be any team. I mean, any team could have injuries and ruin it, and that's what makes the season so interesting. But I also think that's why it's important that the 49ers get that first seed. They have to get, if they don't get the first seed, I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl. They get the first seed, I could see a path to them winning the Super Bowl. They need that. They need that bye week so bad. So bad. They have to go get that this year.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do. Okay, I had another question, but I was looking for my daughter. She just came out. And now I can't even think of it. Man, I had a really good question, too. No, I can't think of my question. Jeez, it was right on. Nah, I can't even remember, man.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
No, wait.
Yeah.
Is Trey on the roster week 1?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
I think so.
I think they'll move him.
Hey,
I don't
let him do it.
No, because there's no market, because the quarterback class next year is too thick. Teams are tanking. Carson Wentz doesn't even have a job. I don't think they can move him.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to have a team lose a quarterback,
right,
in order for that to happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
but even then, they're going to ask for too much in return. That's what they do.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the 49ers definitely overvalue their players. That we've seen in trades with Jimmy G, allegedly. So,
yeah,
you're right.
I'm pretty sure they thought they were going to get a first and something for Jimmy.
Or at least 2 seconds is what the rumor was, and there was never a chance of that happening. So, yeah, You're right. They may overvalue. Yeah, all right, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, be cool, bro.
All right, later. Got the daughter in the car. You know what I mean? You get busy. I get it. All right, we're going to go to Paul, then Drippy, then Rags. Paul, how you doing, man?
What's good, bro?
I hope you don't fall out. You kept like falling out, coming back in. I'm like,
my son kept hitting my phone. He's just learning how to walk, and he's all around. So
yeah, I get it. They got those grabby hands at that age.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset. I missed you when you was in the Bay. I wanted to try to chop it up with you and hang out with you for a little bit. Get brain on a few things. But I'm kind of worried about the first game, because Pittsburgh's defense historically has been known to smash 49er quarterbacks. And I'm just like, what if Brock gets hurt that first game because he rushed himself back?
Yeah, if he gets hurt, I don't think it's because he rushed himself back. I just think that he gets hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I really don't subscribe to the point that he's rushed himself back. Like, I feel like he's back, and I also don't like that people are still, 2 weeks into this, are like, he's shaking off rust. Like, no, he's just playing right now. Like, just let him play, let him work through it. He's fine. He'll be fine.
So I kind of feel like he kind of rushed himself back so he don't lose the job to Trey again, which is gonna happen regardless, because we're gonna see. Like I told you the last time we talked, he's Jimmy Garoppolo can't throw 2.0. He could just run a little better than Jimmy, and that's it. And I was looking at all his sacks that he took last season. Oh my God, it's like he don't really have the wheels to get away. So I'm praying that he don't get ended for the season in the first game. But then again, I'm kind of like, that'll give Trey the opportunity to prove himself, because Trey needs to be the starting quarterback if we're going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, if we just want to go to playoffs and feel like the NFC Championship is the Super Bowl now, then yeah, go with Brock.
My thought process on the quarterbacks, and I've said this before, is, hey, if I say that the 49ers make it to the NFC Championship, but I don't tell you who the quarterback is, you could find a path for it being Purdy, Trey, or Sam. I also, in the same breath, don't think on this roster at this moment have the quarterback that can win a Super Bowl this year. I say that because Brock and Trey are both really, really young, and it's hard to win a Super Bowl when you're this young. And I just don't think Sam's that deal. I don't think he's got really any shot. So for me, I think regardless of the path they choose, it's like those books when you're a kid, Choose Your Own Adventure. Like they could choose their own quarterback. The adventure is you're not going to win a Super Bowl no matter what. Like that's the way that I see it.
Well, you got a point there. Sam Darnold, he went to school with my son down in San Clemente, and that team was garbage.
Was he turnover prone in high school?
Yeah, I don't even know why he's like. It just riddles me how some of these guys just get an open door for some reason, while the door slams on other players that could be great, i.e. Kaepernick, because he took a knee to protest police brutality, not the military, which everybody tried to say, oh, he's messing with veterans and this and that, not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever that the national anthem. But when you do your research, I don't even want to stand for it now, just for the second half of that song, because of the plight that my people have endured in this country's history. I mean, come up with a new slogan for everyday Americans now. You know, sometimes you got to put the old stuff down and put it away, and never let it rear its head again, so everybody can benefit.
The thing about Kaepernick too is like he showed flashes of brilliance in big time games. Like no matter what, everybody, regardless of what your personal thoughts are on Kaepernick, if everybody just pulls themselves away from the moment and remembers what he brought during that Green Bay Packer playoff game, that is a moment that we'll never forget. The way he was able to go out and be the reason they won that game.
No, and our fans can't say he was garbage then.
He wasn't. But, you know, Sam Darnold deserves another chance because, you know, it's Sam.
Maybe the team will digress around him. The defense will digress around Sam Darnold like they did Cap. And then Sam will prove that he's just an all-American quarterback who needs to be the starting quarterback in San Francisco.
Bro, come on.
I know. He's going to lead the team and lead the league in interceptions.
Sam, bro, that's the thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think Sam could play his best football here, but that doesn't sell me on him being a good quarterback. And I keep now that I've seen it in camp, I keep thinking about what Vish told me, and it was such a good thing that he said. He's like, look at every quarterback that was like quote unquote turnover prone. It took them a year to play dink and dunk football to kind of get that out of their system before they were able to turn their career around. And that's what you're seeing from Sam in practice. That dude is turned into a check down Charlie. It's crazy to watch him. So if you play him this year, that's likely what you're going to get from him. He may not turn the ball over a ton, but he's also not going to do what his God-given ability is, which is push the ball down the field, because he's trying not to make the mistake. And so what are you really getting? And why would you want that guy to start? We've seen that guy in this offense, and it didn't win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. So why would you want to see it again? That doesn't make any sense.
And pushing the ball downfield, I wanted to ask you, you were out in Santa Clara. How is Pearson looking with Danny Gray on the outside? Are they going to have to come back for all the passes? Damn, I'm out here in Detroit right now, and these bugs, boy, it's hot and muggy.
Yeah, I don't know. Danny Gray to me is kind of turned into, at least from what I've seen, he's just turned into a better route runner. He's getting open on like bang eights. He's getting open on dig routes. He's getting open on slants. Like he's actually running pretty good routes, and his speed is such that he's able to separate on those routes. So actually, I think that Danny Gray might be a player regardless of the quarterback. I think he might turn into something. I was actually excited to see his development from last year to this year. So we'll see about him.
And how's that Pearson kid looking?
Oh, he didn't end up making nothing, bro. He's a free agent. They never fully brought him in. Jakor? Yeah, Jakor. Yeah. They never fully brought him in.
Damn.
I wish.
I thought we was gonna look like the Rams on the greatest show on turf. Isaac Bruce and them.
I think that he should. I would rather see him than like Willie Snead. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
You
Willie.
know.
Oh, though.
Now Willie made some. You know, he made some cool catches, but we know what Willie Snead is. I think Ja'Cory Pearson in the right offense. Like if the Chiefs got a hold of him, I think it could be deadly. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's going to be like some all-time great receiver, but I think he brings something unique to the NFL and could bring something unique to the 49ers. But yeah, they never fully brought him in, man. He was there for OTAs, and then they kind of brought him in for a second workout, and then that was it. He's out there doing the one-on-one shows with Destroying still, making his money that way, I guess.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
it was good talking to you, bro. And I'll see if you come back to the Bay, be sure to check in.
Yeah, I got you.
Because we could have went and got some halibut, some striper out there on the Bay.
I know.
Check in with your boy.
I feel it. All right, Paul. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, one love.
Yeah. Out in Detroit, man. Got the bugs. It's a humid hour over there. You don't know nothing about that, huh? All right, we're going to go to Drippy, Rags, Lester, and then to Sean. What's up, Drippy?
What's going on, Jesse? Can you hear me?
I got you. Sounding crystal clear.
Awesome. First off, man, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's my first time calling into the show. I appreciate you. Everything you do. And also, I hope Northern California was real good to you. You know what I mean?
It was nice, man. I can't complain. I enjoyed myself. Most definitely. It really was. It was crazy, though, because I wanted to meet up with people. I honestly wouldn't have been able to meet up anyways. Like, it was literally like work. It was, you go to practice, you gather your thoughts, you hit the parking lot, you record a video, then you go home, you do a live. By that time, Grant was coming home. He's knocking out his live. And then it's like, bro, where's the day gone? I'm exhausted.
Right?
This
Hey,
is
jam-packed.
Yeah.
But I hope it was full of memorable experiences.
It was.
And I hope you ate some good food, man.
I did.
I did.
I'll say this. Grant knows where some good food's
food.
at. Yeah. Grant knows where the eats are at for sure.
Awesome. Man, well, I want to talk about a couple things, man. I've been a Niner fan all my life, man, and it's kind of disheartening the way Kyle Shanahan and the staff, I feel, have totally mishandled this QB position. Just in regards to making such a large investment, in which giving the fans that you have the ultimate belief in the person that you're making this investment in, and then to not go out and kind of follow through and finish writing a story or writing a book, right? But where I also think they really fumbled the bag is I truly think with the unfortunate incident with Brock getting hurt, this was the perfect opportunity for them to give Trey some time, right? And to allow him to play in the best world 4 games at least, but even if it was 2, just to make sure, if you truly believe that Brock Purdy is the quarterback that's going to get us to the Super Bowl, why not give him the full amount of time, if not even a little bit more, to make sure he's fully ready to rock and roll? And then also you can truly find out if Trey Lance is the one for you or not. You can kind of really take care of both things, but I really just feel like it's so hard for Kyle to get out of his own way. And it's just like, how can you not see this as an opportunity to really, to see this thing through, or even to double back on where you feel like, man, maybe I messed up, but now I got a chance. Now I got a chance to see what it's like for the team and the staff and also the fans. What are your thoughts on how they handled it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to this. If Brock Purdy proves to be the quarterback, then it's all good. But if after this season, they've done a full season of Brock, and then they're like, you know what? He's not the answer either. Then instead of blaming Trey Lance for being picked number 3 overall, or instead of blaming Brock Purdy for not being able to come through being the last pick in the draft, people really need to start holding Kyle Shanahan accountable.
Absolutely.
Because the QB position is the most important in football, period.
Absolutely.
But you know as well as I do that that's not going to be the case. If they don't win a Super Bowl, it's all going to come down to Brock Purdy and blaming him. You know that. You know it as well as I do. You already have the crystal ball. You already know the answer to the question. If they don't win a Super Bowl, who gets blamed? Brock Purdy gets blamed. And I don't think that's fair. I think Kyle Shanahan needs to be to blame.
And to me, like, I know we often throw Super Bowl out there, right, man? But to me, I know there's, like, even I heard it earlier, like, people say I'm a Brock person, I'm a Trey guy. Like, when it all comes down to it, I'm a 49er fan, and whoever truly gives us the best opportunity to win games, like, that's who I'm ready to rock and roll with, you know. And I just think that's just how it be. And what I wonder is just like how much has Kyle contributed to this divide amongst the fans, and how much is he responsible for creating this? I don't know. It almost is like an inner fan rivalry, or, you know, you choose a side or this side. You know, how much is he responsible for this?
Oh, I mean, this is what I try to say to people is stop yelling at each other and be mad at the 49ers. Like, don't be mad at third string all pro in the chat for liking Purdy. Don't be mad at Sersky for wanting Trey Lance. Like, the 49ers put him in that position. Don't give it.
Right.
You guys are fighting with each other, but the real decision makers are the reason this has happened. Be mad at the 49ers for putting this situation out there the way it's been. That's my thought on it.
Right. And Brock don't get me wrong, Brock has done some amazing things, and I think Brock has the potential to be a great quarterback, and so does Trey. I do feel Trey does need some time, but we haven't afforded him that time. You know, one thing I wonder is, because it feels like Shanahan struggles with the same thing year on and year out, and I wonder if he has a mentor, like, outside of his father, or just a mentor that he seeks feedback and advice in, because you would think that at one point in time, just being a professional are very, very competitive, because, you know, life is all about getting better. So why wouldn't you want to, you know, turn some of your opportunities into strengths? And it just doesn't seem like Kyle is moving towards that direction, into turning his opportunities into strength.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who his mentors are. I do know that his dad was at practice quite a bit, and he obviously looks to his dad. I know that he thinks his dad got a raw deal in the NFL, and I almost feel like his motivation is to prove his dad right by having the same last name and going out and getting it done. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's the right motivation, but we'll see. Time will tell.
All right. Well, yeah, man. Definitely, man. Appreciate you, Jesse. Thank you so much for having me on, man.
Hey, call in anytime, Drippy.
All right.
All right, man. Later. All right. We got Rags, we got Lester, then we got Carlos. Let's see what Rags is talking about. What's up, Rags?
What's popping? What's popping?
Hey, is this Ink Talk TV?
Ink Talk TV, you already know what it is.
All right. Yeah. What's up, man?
What's up? You going to Pittsburgh, ain't you?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Man, we getting drunk on me, man. I'm in there, man. I'm pulling up. I want to see the real deal, as he called it. I want to see this real deal. I know the real deal, so I want to see. This is blasphemy, man. This is straight blasphemy for me, man. I've been a San Francisco 49er fan since I could remember, bro. This is crazy to have man, he's undrafted, man. He the last person, he the future. No, I can't accept this fate of mine, bro. What's wrong with him, man? But no, let's be serious. Sam Darnold. If somebody say something about a Sam Darnold again, say one more thing about a Sam Darnold, and it's gonna be a problem. You hear me? Sam Darnold ain't gonna do nothing. He ain't never did nothing. He ain't gonna never be shit ever. Oh, my bad for cussing on your platform.
You're good.
Brother.
You're good.
All right, then fuck it then. Hey man, if Sam Darnold's name be mentioned again and talking about Trey Lance and him in the same thing, no, he's here for Josh Johnson's spot. He was in the battle with Brandon Allen to see who gonna be last. Man, Trey Lance is the future, man. And my thing with Purdy is, man, Purdy, he the starter. Congratulations, man. He will be the first person to be benched under Kyle Shanahan, man. It's gonna get ugly too, man. I don't see how the fans gonna take it, man. I'm gonna see a lot of tears. The Purdy people ain't gonna take that real well, man. I can't see it being a good thing, man. But oh man, I can't see it. I can't see it. I don't even see us going to the playoffs or nothing, man. I'm lost for the. They laughing at me on the game. Hey, I'm lost for the future, man.
They're laughing at you because you were like, "Hey, man, my bad for cussing." I was like, "It's all good." You're like, "All right, F it then."
No, but the NFC is weak though, man. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I want to see what Purdy gonna do, man. It's your opportunity. Like, I give it to Purdy because he did come in and do his thing. I'm not a Purdy hater, man. Let me stop acting like I am. But my thing is, it's certain skills that you need. It's certain attributes that you need as a quarterback, as I see. No, I didn't play football. I was a drug dealer, so I couldn't play football at the time. But it's certain people that's in the game right now, and even certain people that was drafted this year, and they skill set. Man, you cannot win the big game without a big arm, period. That's how I see it nowadays, man. The last person to do one is Nick Foles. Where is Nick Foles even at right now? Do you know that answer?
I don't think he's in the league right now.
That part, and he pulled a Purdy. He came in the middle of the season and took him and finished it. The next year, he had a flop season. The year after that, they traded him. Come on, man. You are who you are, man. You was Mr. Irrelevant because of your skill set. You came in and did your thing. We salute. And he should get the start this year. I'm not mad at that. It's not going to end well, man, for him, man. And I think they put too much pressure on him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. The way that people are talking about him, he better be everything that they say he is.
That part,
and if he is everything they say he is, then they probably will win a Super Bowl. So we'll find out. I mean, that's the cool thing about predictions. That's the cool thing about having a stance. It's a cool thing about putting your opinions out there is we always find out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so, we'll in 3 years from now, and it's going to take a while, but in 3 years from now, and we may know before then on all these guys, but for sure in 3 years, we're going to know exactly who Brock Purdy ended up being. We're going to know who Trey Lance ended up being.
Yeah, true. That's true.
All these things, all these answers are going to come out one way or another, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, this going to be an exciting season, man, because they got the book on him now. So all of that running around looking on Jimmy G 2.5, that is over with. They at your top this time. And I want the fan base to do this for me one time. And Grant Cohn said it, he coined it, and I salute him. Hey, don't compare to Brock to Purdy no more. Now, I said Brock to Purdy. Don't compare Brock to Trey no more. Now, you compare, since he's starter, everybody want to put him on a pedestal. Now, you compare him to other starters now. So now he go up there with all the Lawrence's and them. Yeah, you go that way then. Since you that dude, leave little Trey Lance alone, let him keep getting his stuff together, and you go that way. And then now you compare him to them now, though. So I like when he said that, though.
It's fun. It's funny to me, right? Because the goalpost always gets moved. You got a group of people that will be in the chat on a regular basis calling Trey Lance a bust, right?
Yeah.
But why is that bust doing everything as well as Brock Purdy in training camp? I mean, a bust shouldn't be able to keep up with your starter that's top 10 in the league, right? Like at any point. It doesn't matter if you're in practice. None of that should matter. If you're a bust and a scrub and a bum and other dude's a top 10 quarterback, the way it's being portrayed, it should be very obvious, right?
That part. It shouldn't be no touching it. You should be so
Just
far
saying.
away you can't even see him.
Right. I
But
don't
he
know.
right there. He right there. It's all good, man. We about to see.
Saying.
We got a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I appreciate
Yeah, we
the
do.
call,
We'll
man.
find out.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, call in anytime, man. You're always super entertaining.
All right.
Hi, man. Twin, I can put it back in here for you, man, if you want to call in. Twin, there you go. Call in, my man. Call in. Call in, my man. Call in. There you go. I'm just saying, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that one dude's a trash bum, can't even beat out Sam Darnold. This dude sucks. Get him off my team. Brock's the future. He's a top 10 quarterback. We're going to win a Super Bowl on his right arm this year. I mean, there really shouldn't be a day that they're even close in anything. I mean, if they have thumb wars, Brock Purdy should smash them. Like, everything should be a big gap if that's the way it really is. Some of y'all paint a picture that ain't reality on that whole situation. And if it is, and one dude's trash and a bus, I mean, I'm just saying. Anyways. All right, we're going to go to Lester, and then we're going to go to Carlos. What's up, Lester?
You can hear me?
Got you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, anytime.
Is, I don't like this divide between the Niner fans right now. But you're right though. It's the organization that put us in this. But I think my personal opinion, I think a lot of us want to see Trey Lance because we've been sold on what he might be, and the organization been telling us, oh, he's almost ready. He's almost ready. He's almost ready. And then we hearing this reports that look, he's reaching, he's almost there, he's almost there. But now like they don't want to let us see it. I believe if we all seen him play a couple games like with a fair chance with the Brock Purdy playbook and he wasn't it, a lot of us would be like, okay, let's rock with Brock. But we really still don't know what Trey Lance can be. So I think it's that hope and that excitement for a lot of us all. And then we see Brock, he out there, he doing his thing. But my opinion, I think Brock is just a good backup quarterback. He came in, did what he's supposed to do. But then we see these reports here, and Brock is throwing picks. We all listening to Grant, like, oh, Brock throwing picks, his arm ain't it. So, of course, we all a little worried. And then I'm like, I don't like the way they did Trey Lance. Like, all he really did was got hurt. Like, what other quarterback lost his job for getting hurt like that? I don't even think that's fair. I'm trying to think what else did he do, like, besides getting hurt to be like, okay, now you can't start anymore. Like, that's messed up, in my opinion. What you think about that? Have you ever heard of somebody getting injured and like, okay, now you're not starting no more? Like, wasn't you like that's
yeah? I mean, I'd have to really think about it. I'm sure it's happened, but at the same time, the way I see it is like, what's the harm in making two young quarterbacks actually compete? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if there is any harm in that.
Why did he make Jimmy G compete with Trey, but Brock can't compete with Trey? Like all this just seem a little like wishy-washy, like unfair to Trey. You give me in my opinion. And then I honestly think they're scared to trade him, honestly, because he actually might be good. And if he trade him and Brock is not good and Trey end up good, that's like fireable offenses right there. So I think they scared to even see that, in my opinion. That's why they holding him around. And then preseason go tell a lot as well. I think they're gonna. I don't know. I'm kind of confused because part of me think they're gonna trade him because you don't want that pressure on Brock. Like how Brock gonna be scared to make mistakes when Trey just looking. You throw a pick, the whole fan base gonna be like, "Oh, put Trey in." So do you really want to ride with Brock? I mean, ride with Trey and with having that pressure with Brock? I don't think that'd be fair. So part of me would be like, would they trade him just because of that? Like you see what that did.
But they should. If Brock's their guy, they really should. You know what I mean? Like they really legitimately should.
All right, then all the fan base could just get behind that one guy. But the fact that they're keeping him around makes me feel like it's a little bit of chance that we'll see it. But I don't know though. But then I also look at Brock. If Brock was a little bigger, I'd be like, okay, we got something. I look at Brock like Kyler Murray without the arm strength, and Kyler Murray stay hurt because he can't get hit. Like, so Brock, look, the minute they touched his arm, look, he's out, fractured. Imagine if we see him really get lit up, like somebody really missed a O-line, missed a defensive tackle, and they get whacked. Like, is he gonna be able to get up and shake that off? He kind of small, so. And then you say you get rid of this, then we're gonna be left with Sam Darnold. Like, that's scary right there.
Hey,
So that's just some stuff I'd be thinking about.
I mean, that's it, right? Like, so that's the decision you made in going with Brock. So roll with Brock. Like, you can't
oh shit.
You can't have this back and forth. You can't have a situation where you're kind of playing this in between game, in my opinion. Once you decide to go with one player, you keep it pushing, just like they should have kept it pushing with Trey Lance when he was drafted and moved on from Jimmy G. They should do the same thing with Trey Lance now, move on from him, keep it pushing with Brock Purdy, and figure it out from there. Because if Brock Purdy's not it, like, at least he's inexpensive and you can pivot.
Yeah, I got a question for you too. When you was at training camp, do they guard Brock Purdy and Trey Lance different? Like, when Trey Lance on the field, do the defensive ends and the cornerbacks back up a little bit? When Brock Purdy in there, do they come a little closer, or they play everybody the same?
No, they play everybody pretty much the same. I mean, Trey Lance, I would say, throughout practices was living in that mid-range, anywhere from like 10 to 25. Like, he stayed in that area on a pretty regular basis. Brock Purdy was kind of like in between, where he would throw a short a lot, but then he would take deep shots probably more than anybody. He just wasn't connecting on them. And Trey just stayed in that medium zone like all practice, every practice, it seemed like.
Right. One more question for you. Who do you think Pittsburgh would rather see? You think they'd rather see Brock Purdy or Trey Lance? Who do you think they'd rather roll out?
I mean, I don't think that Brock Purdy puts fear. This is just me. I don't think Brock Purdy puts fear in anybody or any defense, but that doesn't mean that you can't lose to him. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You don't have to be scared to get your ass whooped. So I don't think people are scared of Brock, but that doesn't mean that they're going to beat Brock. You know what I mean?
Right. You're right about that. All right, well, that's it, man. That's something I just wanted to touch bases with, get your opinion. Thank you for having me on. I'll be watching all your shows for us. It's my first time calling in, but I'll be listening to you.
Hey, call in anytime, man. Call in anytime. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
All right, man. Later. All right. So we got Carlos, the Niner by nature, then twin. Oh, what's up, Chris? I see you. See you, Chris. Gotta let Chris on. Chris is my editor, man. That's my behind the scenes editor. It's my guy. There's a link for you. All right, we're gonna go to Carlos.
Hello.
What's up, Carlos? From Toronto. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, from Toronto. I'd called you before earlier, way back in the offseason, but I guess I wanted to switch gears a bit from the quarterback talk. And I'm sure it's
let's do it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not nerve-wracking, just tiresome. And like, I'll just say this about the quarterbacks. I think management, the head office, everybody's like, we have a Super Bowl quality ready team, and loss of a quarterback is not going to be the reason this year. So why do we have 4? Why is the narrative all there? I think they've determined that Brock is the best, and it's his job till he loses it. And they have 2 hungry backups that are also trying to find themselves, improve themselves. And like, that's it. I don't think there's any more to the narrative other than we don't want to be in this situation again. We have an okay quarterback that won 8 games straight. And until he loses, it's his job. And that's it. Focus on all the other holes in our team, right? Like, right tackle's a big question mark, right? I think the biggest thing, and it's covered every once in a while, but like, the loss of Jimmy Ward, I don't think can be underplayed. That guy was a leader. You can put him anywhere. He's plug and play. And I'm curious as to how the discussion went with agreeing to get rid of Jimmy, but also bringing in Wilkes, who's a defensive back kind of guru. And I'm just like, you don't think Wilkes wanted to keep Jimmy? Like, I think it was just he was too old and too expensive. But I'm curious from your point of view in watching the secondary, like, is the team going to be able to bounce back with the loss of Jimmy Ward?
It's more focused on like.
Oh, hold on a second. There we go. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, like, do you think that the secondary specifically is going to be able to bounce back with the loss of Jimmy Ward? And then I have another question about the future.
I think so. I mean, listen, I like Jimmy Ward, and I didn't want him to go anywhere. And when they lost him and Mosley, I was like, man, losing both, that's going to be tough. That's like 2/3 of your starting corners. But I also think Wilkes had a big part in the players that ended up coming here. First of all, I mean, I'm an Oregon Duck guy, so I liked him as soon as they made the draft pick. But even then, he's impressed me a little bit. Diamador Lenore, even in training camp, looks pretty damn good. Like he looks like he's continuing to make strides. Obviously, we believe in Treverius. And then Oliver was brought in from the Falcons, who Wilkes has seen play multiple times a year, being with Carolina. So there's obviously something there that he likes. He definitely brings in youth, no doubt about it. So I don't know. We'll see. I think that the leadership potentially could be missed, but I also look at a guy like Hufanga, who's going into his third year. I think he's going to step up even more as a leader. And I don't know. Time will tell, but I could see them missing him for sure. But I don't know if it'll be enough to like hold them back from winning a lot of games or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the other question would be, I know this is your first training camp, right? That you went to go see.
Yes, sir.
So you also got to see like practice squad, guys that are destined for the practice squad.
Yeah.
We have big contracts that are coming up for paydays in the next year or two. And I think riding with the cheap quarterback room is a smart move, but I don't know if we can have this superstar team. So is there anybody of the young squad and kind of behind the scenes that only people that really study the team that you're excited about, and they're like, you know what, they need another year to cook? I think a good example would be like Aaron Banks, right? Like what? He didn't take any snaps, came back, stud. So is there anybody that you saw that you're like, you know what, in a year or two, this guy's gonna replace this star player?
Yeah, there was two players that really stood out to me. And, I'm not going to make a prediction that they're for sure going to be somebody, but, man, there's definitely potential there. One of them is Jalen Graham at linebacker. I mean, he showed out every day, every single day. He was one of the few guys to win one-on-one reps against running backs and tight ends. Nobody else was doing that. And then the other one would be Leroy Watson, who was an undrafted free agent, picked up by the Falcons last year. Came out of UTSA with Spencer Burford. They actually played together at UTSA, except for he was a tight end and Spencer Burford was a tackle. He's now converted to tackle, put on a ton of weight. And there was a practice where he had to be the starting left tackle because not only did Trent Williams not suit up that day, but Jalen Moore had gotten injured the practice before. And he was stonewalling everybody. He was holding up really, really well for that practice. So he started to open my eyes, and then watching him in one-on-ones, he did well in those scenarios as well. I think Leroy Watson might be a tackle to watch here in the future. So obviously they've got a year or so to develop him, very likely, before Trent Williams even considers retirement. And who knows what McKivitz is at right tackle, but I think they might have somebody here in Leroy Watson. We'll see.
All right. Yeah, and I guess from what you saw, moving into next year's draft and even some midseason pickups like waiver wire or a trade, but where do you see like other holes that then you start thinking about as a team?
Yeah, most definitely. I think, they're going to need a tight end to step up. And maybe one of these rookies can. I know Will has started to really kind of come on the last couple of practices. I'm certainly not going to write off a rookie, but I'm curious to see what Latu and Willis bring, because I think when I look at a couple players that aren't going to be here, I would say in 2 seasons for sure. Not for sure, but I would say Armstead's probably not going to be here much longer. I would say Kittle's a possibility, and I would say Juice. So those 3 guys, how do you replace them? You're going to need a young defensive tackle. You're going to need a tight end, and you're going to need a fullback. Now, they brought in Jack Coletto, who they're probably going to try to sneak on their practice squad to eventually be that fullback. We'll see what he brings to the table. And we're going to need one of these young tight ends to step up. And if they don't, they're going to have to continue to draft a tight end over the next couple of years until they get something figured out, I think.
That's fair. All right. Well, I appreciate the time, and I'll let some of these people in queue. It's always good talking to you, Jesse.
You too, man. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
It's a good call. It's nice to get away from the quarterbacks for a conversation, huh? What's up, Fish and Chips? I forgot to thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you. We're going to go Niner by nature, then Twin, then Greg, then Phoenix, then Roscoe's, and then the end of the show. All right, let's do this. What's up, Niner by nature?
What's good, Jesse? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Good to hear from you.
Hey, you too, man. I hope you enjoy your time out there in California. Yay.
I did, man. I definitely did. Yes.
That's what's up, man. What was it like staying with Grant?
Oh, it was cool, man. His wife's hella cool, super nice. Grant's hospitality was fantastic. We had a nice little setup going. We were able to, the way that practice ended and when he would get home versus when I would get back, it was nice. We were able to stream around each other, go out for some nice dinners, have some drinks. So it was a good time, man. He's it's funny because we had never met, but I definitely call him a friend. And now that I've hung out with him for a week, he's exactly who I thought he was. And he's definitely a friend for sure.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's good to hear, man. Man, so, man, again, when I always come up on here, I always thank you, man, for your time. Thank you I thank your parents for creating you, you know what I mean? And it's a blessing to get on this platform to talk to you today. You know what I'm saying? Every day is not given to you. So every day is not promised to you. I should say that. But, God willing, we're here. So, I like I said, I just want to thank you again. Thank your parents for having you. But I want to get to this. When do you think Bosa are going to get signed? Because I think tomorrow on Tuesday, wouldn't that be the longest tenure of a 49er not being signed?
Ooh, under this regime, yeah, I think that's about the date. We're coming up on it for sure.
Yeah, we coming up on that.
Yeah, we definitely we're coming up on it, no doubt about it. Yeah, man, I don't know. I really thought he would be signed for the first padded practice. I was surprised. So I'm not going to make any predictions at this point, but I would say if he's not signed by second preseason game, I'm going to start to get a little tight about it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I ain't going to keep you too long, but I'm going to say this. I knew Brock Purdy was QB1. I thought Kyle Shanahan had, the genius he is, I thought he was going to kind of open it up for Trey Lance to possibly get his position back. I mean, he did. He didn't lose his spot to play. He lost his spot to injury. So, with that being said, Brock came in, he did his thug dizzle, he did his thing, and he got hurt. So, I thought, if it's all fair and it's coming, it's all fair. I would think that Kyle Shanahan would want to see a QB competition between the two and be like, who's better? I want to know who's better. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, Brock came in, our offense was humming, our defense was humming. He came in at the right time. But I think that for real, I honestly do think that Trey Lance still can be the king of the NFC. I don't care, man. I don't care what anybody say, man. I still think he could be the king of the NFC if given a chance. If the offense and defense is firing on all cylinders, he could do the same thing. You know what I mean? And for Kyle, how he kind of messed up this whole QB situation, man, by when he brought in Trey, he should have traded Jimmy G. But when he brought in Trey, he said, you're going to have him sit it for a year. You know what? All right, cool. You know what I mean? But all of us was thinking like, man, he don't have that many reps. He should go out there and play. And, what I'm saying, get his bumps. But, I was going with Kyle Shanahan about what he wanted to do. They were playing or whatever. Okay, sit him. Then the next year, I'm like, okay, this is Trey's year. Now, the thing is, I don't understand. It's like, why would you run your quarterback up the middle like that? You know what I'm saying? He was on pace to break the all-time record for attempts. You know what I'm saying? If the whole goal was to win a Super Bowl, why would you not protect your quarterback? That's why it kind of made me look at him like, man, you were doing this on purpose. Like, it's like you was almost you almost wishing he was getting to an injury, because I don't see no other quarterback run up the middle that many times, about to break the attempt record, and you got a Super Bowl team. You trying to get to a Super Bowl, but you know running your quarterback like that ain't gonna get you no Super Bowl. So what was the point? You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to connect the dots on that. And then I just never seen a head coach like Kyle Shanahan to bring back the predecessor, to back up and to distract the successor. Doesn't make any sense to me. And I've never seen a head coach get 4 quarterbacks hurt in 1 year. You know what I'm saying? So there's things about Kyle Shanahan that I don't like. I'm not a Kyle Shanahan guy. I kind of just start disliking him, how he was using Trey, and now it seems like how he treating Trey. Of course I'm not in the building, so I don't see everything, but the way it just doesn't look good. I'm praying for Brock to have a healthy season, but to be honest with you, I think he's fool's gold, and it's going to show. Because fake gold always turns up and it turns rust. So, if Trey does not have no chance here, why not just trade him? Trade him to Washington. If he go to Washington Commanders, man, I'm telling you, Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy, and Matt Johnson over there, they're gonna support him. They're gonna give him the time to develop, and they're gonna give him the reps that he needs. So I mean, if Kyle Shanahan don't want him, then trade him. If Kyle Shanahan have a plan, then use your plan, because you was out there, Jesse. So I'm gonna ask you this question. I'm gonna leave. I know you got a lot of people in the queue. Now, if you was a head coach and you had to open competition, from what you seen, who would be QB1? Who will be QB1 starting week 1?
It's funny. I was asked this question in Spaces. So if I don't know the history of any of these quarterbacks, and I'm simply going off the practices I saw. First of all, let me say this. I don't think any of them blew any of them out of the water by any means. But I do think that the 5 practices I was there, that Trey Lance was the best quarterback. Yes.
That's what I thought. And then when he played with the first string, did he look better than Brock when he played with the first string?
It was such a small sample size. It's hard to tell, man. I mean, you know what I mean? It really is. It was such a small sample size. Now, he definitely was able to do a lot of the same things Brock was doing with the first team, by all means. I mean, he was just as efficient, if that's what you want to know.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to know. So that's why I don't understand why he can't get. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if it's a tie, then I guess you give to Brock for what he did last year. But at the same time, if it's a QB if it was a QB competition, cause I thought it was going to be a QB competition, because Debo made it seem like it was going to be that way. But it's really not a QB competition. You know what I mean? If you want Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen, man, just trade Trey Lance, man. And I still think he's going to be the king of AFC or NFC, whatever it is. I'm still going to go with that. But, Jesse, man, thank you for your time, brother. And everybody in the chat who's watching this video right now, man, depot that like button and subscribe.
I appreciate you, man. You call in anytime, man. It's good to hear from you. It's been a while.
Yes,
Can't
sir.
wait to hear from you more this upcoming season, man. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
Here's what I'll say. Anybody who watches fighting knows this saying: to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. So knowing that Brock Purdy's the incumbent, like Trey may be winning on scorecards, but he didn't knock Brock Purdy out, if that makes sense. Like, that's the way that the training camp has gone. But usually when you get to the scorecards, the champ gets the benefit of the doubt, right? So I think that's kind of the way that this training camp has played out. Like, Trey needed to knock Brock out to even put himself in the conversation, and he didn't do that. From what I've seen, not yet anyways. So he would win on a scorecard. If neither of them are champ and they're fighting for the championship, it's like an interim championship because the real champ's out or something like that, then sure, he would win on scorecards. But in order to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. And unfortunately, I would say that definitely didn't happen for sure. So that's the way I see it. All right, Twin, we're going to come to you.
What's cracking, my guy?
Hey, not much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. I'm moving. So, you just made this beautiful boxing reference, but it's 12 rounds in the championship match, right?
I don't know for sure. We're only like 5 rounds into this thing. I feel
I
it.
would say, cause look, if we talk about this offseason to beat the champ, my man just came in like the 7th round while Trey and Brock and them been, well, Trey and Sam and Brandon been there since minicamp. So them first 5 to 6 rounds will go to them off rip because they was available. You know what I'm saying? And that can't be used as an excuse because last time I checked, a quarterback and lose their job, to injury. So But anyway, that's neither here or there. I'll say this thing about the quarterback position real quick, and I'll ask about something else. The standard for this would be something to watch this year. And this is where I kind of feel bad for Brock, but he's gonna get that work. Because now his expectation is to do what he did last year. Like, you can't deviate from the first in, like, how they say, first against the blitz, first against motion, first against, those stats that people put up all the time to say this is how he was last at the end of the year. That's going to be his target there. And you're going to have a segment of fans that say, okay, this is what we're looking for. Now, you cannot deviate from this because you said this is our franchise guy. So we are expecting this is the normal. And that's where I'm going to be like, that's going to be rough. You see what I'm saying? Because now you're going to see that people are really going to have this expectation that he's going to play like a top 5, top 10 quarterback. I even heard somebody say the other day on the radio was like, hey, man, I think who would you pick over the last 8 games last year? Would it be Brock Purdy or Justin Herbert? They was like, no, I'm going Brock. And I was like, now, y'all.
You listen to 95.7? I heard that on my way there one day.
Bro, and I was sitting here like, y'all go do this and not use context. And this is where I get upset. And this is why I appreciate you again. Y'all ain't gonna sit here and act as if the team that Justin Herbert was playing on is the same replica team that Brock Purdy was playing on. The defenses are nowhere near the same. The skill positions are nowhere the same. The coach is nowhere near the same. But y'all still have the audacity to say that. So now people going to sit here and put him up there on that pedestals too. Okay, then, well, if y'all saying he's better than Justin Herbert, I need to see that arm talent because one thing I know for sure, Justin Herbert has to be a top 3 to top 5 quarterback for that team to make it to the Super Bowl or to the NFC Championship game. Brock Purdy don't need to be a top 3 or to a top 5 quarterback to make the San Francisco an NFC Championship team or to a Super Bowl team. And so that context matters. You see what I'm saying? And so another guy said something today. I think it was David. He gonna say this QB room hasn't been as talented since 1991 with Joe Montana, Steve Young. I think it was either Elvis Grbac or somebody else in the QB room. And that's when I shook my head again, man. I was like, why are we doing this? How dare you? Joe Montana was a 4-time Super Bowl champ by then, man. He actually had played a whole season. Like, dude had stake in the game. He had equity build up. There's no reason that we should be comparing these guys. Like, why are we doing this? Why? Like, help me understand. Why are we even comparing them? Because people say this quarterback battle is like Steve Young and Joe Montana. It's like, bro, Joe had a Super Bowl without Jerry Rice. Joe had another Super Bowl with Roger Craig before Jerry Rice. Then he won another. Like, people, are y'all 49ers
He had 2
fans?
without Rice, did he not? I thought he won 2 before Rice came.
He did. That's what I'm saying. He won the one with Roger Craig and the one in 80 in his first one.
Mm-hmm.
So I scratched my head like, bro, what? How are y'all saying these comparisons to a guy like Joe Montana who finished seasons, who didn't start halfway in the goddamn like? And this is not to knock Brock, but it's to give more respect.
Yeah, but also in the same breath, if they're saying the room is that good, then they're comparing either Sam or Trey to Steve Young too. That's blasphemy, also.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, I'm not even gonna get off the Joe boat. And then I said it to somebody else. Yeah, long to go to the Steve Young boat. Cause he was in 91, I think he was the MVP the next year, I believe. Or I know he had won 2 MVPs in like a span of 3 years. But bro, we gotta calm down, man. There's some better comps out there. Cause and this another thing. If y'all are saying this, that means that I just want people to be a little more logical. Don't lower your expectation down because you trying to press this guy up to be this high can be one of our biggest downfall. He gonna feel that pressure. You know what I'm saying? Our team gonna feel that pressure. We need to take a chill pill, relax, allow these things to develop. I know Trey didn't, like I say, I'm a Trey guy. I wish they would have said go out there and just have a competition. Because I remember last year everybody was like, I didn't like the fact that Trey he was given the job. And I was like, okay, well, Jimmy G was still hanging around. He was a Super Bowl quarterback. He was an NFC championship quarterback. Y'all said y'all made a hoopla about Trey not competing for the job last year, but y'all don't keep that same energy this year.
He already earned it off of last year.
But I mean, so I'm
just telling you what would be said back.
I know that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, then, well, he earned it last year, but then y'all say he got hurt. So because of injury, because y'all said Trey lost his job because of injury. Well, Brock, because you got hurt and you didn't get a chance to continue to, develop the things that you necessarily wasn't good at. Because everybody say he's the perfect quarterback right now. He runs this system perfectly and so on and so forth. I'm like, bro, again, I just heard their quarterback coach say this guy has a lot to develop and get better on. I've even heard their offensive coordinator say he still needs things to develop on and get better at. But y'all sit here and say this man is ready made. He like a hot and ready pizza. He ready to go out there and play right now. There's nothing that he needs to do better. And I'm like, again, y'all said my boy for failure, but that's just me. That's my 2 cents of the situation, man. And last thing I say, I'm so excited for this defense again, though. Y'all better keep on. Hey, remember this: the defense is the identity of the San Francisco 49 team. Y'all can call Kyle Shanahan the genius all y'all want. This defense has led this team since 2019, and it led this team again in 2022 season to 2023 season, and he'll do it again this year, man. So put some respect on the defense. Put some respect on Wilkes' name and Fred Warner, Bosa, Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, all of them boys, because we're only going to go as far as they take us.
Yes, sir. I believe that.
For sure.
All right, Twin. Hey, thanks for calling in, man. It's always good to hear from you.
All right, my guy. Peace out. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you too. All right. Always Drippin' says Trey Lance is like Triple G when he fought Canelo and got robbed. I'm going to tell you a story about that fight. So I was at my boy Hugo's house in Portland, and I actually turned to him when that fight ended.
Listen.
I actually turned to him. Why every time? Oh, bro, it keeps adding you in automatically because you got the full credential to my StreamYard. I was wondering what was happening. Every time you come backstage, Roscoe, it adds you in automatically. That's funny. Anyways, now I figured out. I thought it was me doing that. Anyways, I turned to him and I said, "This fight's a draw. Watch. It's going to be a draw." And sure enough, it was a draw. So I don't know. Anyway, since it keeps adding you in and you were next up, Roscoe, we're going to go to you. We're going to go Roscoe, TC, Greg, and then Coach Noah Johnson. I haven't heard from him in forever. Ever. So I'm excited to talk to him as well. All right, let's do this thing. What up, Roscoe? Roscoe.
I'm up.
Yeah. You're up, man.
Oh,
did you hear what I said? How it keeps adding you in automatically?
Yeah, I was kind of reading your lips. I'm on a space as well, but I
got you.
I put muted. I muted. What's up, man? What's up, Jesse?
What's up?
Wait, so is people slandering Purdy? I heard twin. That's so off. It don't even make sense. First off, Purdy didn't miss any games. Purdy already played the games. So just because he got hurt, how can he lose his position how can he lose his position just because he got hurt? He didn't play any more games after that. He's already played games. So to say, oh well, Purdy, since you got hurt, that don't even make any sense. Do you even hear yourself talk? Like, what are we doing here, bro? Listen, no, he played in the NFC Championship game. Actually, he was handing off the ball. And this is where you don't make sense, twin. Who came in and played better? Who came in and did something? Nobody. It was a difference. Purdy came in when when Jimmy got hurt, and he played very well and won actual 2 playoff games, which is huge. So it doesn't make any sense. Oh, you can lose your starting position because nobody else played any games. That don't even make sense. You better than that, twin. Anyways, I'm sorry, Jesse. I didn't mean to go off like that. It's just some of these comments that these people make. Listen, I understand. Trey Lance is the more gifted quarterback. We all believe that. But currently, Brock Purdy is the better quarterback because guess what? He's played games. He's gotten reps. He's played with the first team. Does it make him better? As of right now, yes. But Trey Lance can be the best quarterback. There is a alternate universe where Trey Lance can be the better quarterback. It's a chance where he can be this guy that can lead us very far. But as of right now, he just will not get that opportunity because right now we got to see what we have in Brock Purdy. He's played 8 games. We don't know who he is. We know a little bit, but guess what? You get to find out more. When you start dating somebody, you go on a date, go on another date, you go on a couple of dates, y'all start talking a little bit more, start talking daily. Start talking, daily and all this stuff. You find out a little bit more about that person. Am I right, Jesse? Didn't you want to find out about your wife when y'all started dating and y'all started talking more and more? You started finding more about her, and then you was like, man, she the one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the Niners are doing with Purdy right now. They filling him out. It's a dating game. And if he ain't it, then they kick him to the curb. Golly. Hey, Jesse.
Maybe Purdy has split personalities. I don't know.
Listen. He could be fool's gold. There are some women who are fool's gold. There are some men who are fool's gold, right? Like, listen. You can talk to a person, you cut off the other girls, Jesse. Jesse cut off listen. Well, no. When you dating, you can hang on to that one. So Lance, you can hang on to that one. So Lance right now is the one with a little bit more, probably with a little bit more potential. You hanging on to that one, that they're in the back pocket. And if Purdy don't do things well, kick Purdy to the side, bring that main one back, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. But anyways, the Niners are going to the Super Bowl, and
who are they going to play in the Super Bowl? Let's get the prediction right now. I got the Bengals and Niners, and the Bengals winning. Who do you got?
Well, I kind of picked that too, but let's go with Niners and versus Bills. Bring on Josh Allen.
Hey, bring on Josh Allen. Let's see it.
I'm gonna get out of here. I know other people want to come on. Look, I got time to spare. I don't talk too long. Hey, but if any of you guys try to refute anything I said, y'all casuals. Yeah, have a good way.
All right, man. Later. Right. Hey, that's the editor behind the scenes right there. I was wondering, I'm like, why is this every time he comes in, he ends up on the screen? It's because it's like he's the owner of it. That's why. It's weird. Now I got to make sure. Every time he comes in that I remember that. That's crazy. All right. We're going to go TC, then Greg, then Coach. Let's do it. What's up, TC?
What's up, brother?
TC's watching a karate movie. What's up, man?
What's up, bro? Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. Nah, man. So, listen, sorry I missed you at camp. I couldn't make it out there. I had work. I'm like, man, I was trying to meet the homie Jesse.
Yeah, I wish, man. I wish.
Yeah, it's all good. But nah, man. College is on point. It's just like the last time we spoke. It's about the book is out on Kyle. You know what I'm saying? And he got to get it together. You know what I'm saying? With this quarterback situation. So, I'm at the point, just it's going to play out how it's going to play out. You know what I'm saying? Like, how I feel about it, Trey. I feel like he should be starting, but Brock earned it. And so, we're going to see. We're going to see how the cookie crumble. But if it ain't cooking crumble, then I'm going to be axing out if I'm Trey. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you guys been playing with me for a while. And you get me? So if he, if he doesn't have like a fair, I'm not just talking about just getting out of there like, oh, get me out of here. No, but if I don't have a fair shot at like, whether it's not due to injury, I mean, we don't want nothing to happen, like saying wishing bad on Brock, but I'm just saying, like, other than that, like, if he starts struggling, I mean, like, what's going on? Do I got a shot at being a starting quarterback and the man of the team? If not, then you get me?
Yeah, I feel it. No, I definitely. I mean, I think that's the only way that Trey gets traded is if he requests a trade or the 49ers can get something for him and they feel comfortable rolling with Brock, Sam, and Allen.
Yeah. So, other than that, man, I mean, camp was cool, man. I mean, the things that he needed to work on, he worked on. I'm kind of happy that Brock came back because now I thought it was just going to be an all out, but it could be a quarterback competition without it being a quarterback competition. So we'll see. I'm just happy that Brock is back and he had to take some time off. So now that if he does struggle and then Trey got to take over, it's like it happened. So it's all good. Other than that, what you thinking about the rest of the team, though, bro? The defense. What you think about that blitzing that Wilkes is doing? You think that's gonna get us in trouble?
I don't know, man. He's aggressive. I like his aggressiveness. I'm curious to know what Kyle's going to allow to happen when the actual season starts because I feel like some of the other defensive coaches might have been that aggressive too, and he kind of hogtied him a little bit. So we'll see what he allows them to do once the season starts. I'm curious.
Yeah, I like Wilkes. I like the aggressiveness, but we gonna see. I know for sure though the DBs because I know Lenore, Womack guys are stepping up. So that's if our line is already stout, our linebackers. So for our DBs to be on point under Wilkes, we can have something special. You know what I'm saying? But all the blitzes.
Hey, I'll tell you. Listen, if he wants to be a crazy blitzer, I'm all about it, man. I liked what I saw in practice from him. He was super aggressive. We'll see.
Yeah. So other than that, man, I know you have fun out here, man. What's up with Grant, man? Grant, that's my boy though, man. I know I know y'all had a good time.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, I'm muting you in between when I talk, so just let it stay muted because I think people are saying there's an echo. I don't hear it, but they do, so I think it's just because you're unmuted. So I'll mute you and then I'll unmute you. But yeah, man, Grant's hella cool. I'm not gonna lie, Grant is hella cool. I expected him to be, but he really is a cool dude for sure. I enjoyed my time with Grant, no doubt about it.
Yeah, just based on, bro. That's why I mess with you dudes, bro, because it's just about being honest. You know what I'm saying, though. And I'm just it's at a point now that I know a lot of the fan base is like seeing it. You know, not from like everybody's not going to see it eye to eye, but everybody's starting to come around and see the truth behind the situation. So that's kind of dope, bro. And I like how you and Grant do that. Some people don't like that, but to me, it's dope because you got to have that. So.
You got to have thick skin to be on this side of things. I'll tell you what, man.
Nah, for sure. Ryan, everybody. So it's good, you know. Him and Larry had a nice show. Hey, him and Larry had a nice show though.
They did. It was nice to see them together.
They mashed it out, so that was dope. But you know what? Go ahead, Jesse. I'm gonna get out of here, bro. I'm gonna let you take the other callers and I just want to tap in.
All right, bro. Good hearing from you.
All right, one.
Okay, these comments, bro. Let's get into it. Every time you talk bad about Josh Allen, man, you're instantly going to get a rebuttal from me. All right, first of all, this man has thrown 1,800 passes in the last 3 seasons and has 37 interceptions, but he throws too many interceptions. You realize that he averages 36 touchdown passes a season over the last 3 seasons? So literally in one season, he's a 1-to-1 ratio. So at the last 3 seasons, he throws 3 touchdown passes to every 1 interception he throws. We haven't even gotten into the rushing yet. Let's not even get into the rushing. What do you mean he throws too many interceptions? Let's go. Let's look at this real quick. Hold on. Let's, everybody wants to talk about Joe Burrow and how he protects the ball and he's got that it factor, right? Let's also not forget that Josh Allen has 17 touchdown passes to 4 interceptions in the playoffs, but that's besides the point. Let's see. Mr. Joe Burrow, who doesn't throw too many interceptions. Josh Allen, last 2 seasons, 29 interceptions. Joe Burrow, 26 interceptions. That's weird. Okay, so pretty close there. Let's go to the playoffs. Last 2 seasons in the playoffs, Joe Burrow, 9 touchdown passes to 4 interceptions. Josh Allen, 12 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Come on, man. And then somebody said, Allen can't even get ahead of Burrow. Okay, so worst case scenario, we're talking about the 3rd best quarterback in the league. That's somehow a knock, which he's better than Burrow. Let's keep it 100. He's better than Burrow. But if you think Burrow's better, that's fine. But at worst, you're putting him below Burrow. Okay, he's the 3rd best quarterback in the league. How many quarterbacks have won Super Bowls, period, in the last couple of years? I mean, only one can win. What was he supposed to do? The year that they lost to Kansas City, what was he supposed to do when he threw in 2 games, 9 touchdown passes to 0 interceptions? What should Josh Allen have done? I'm curious. Val, what should he have done to win that game or win the playoffs that year when he threw 9 touchdowns in 2 games to 0 interceptions? What should he have done? I'm curious. Come on, y'all. This is wild talk. You put him on this team, they're unbeatable. Unbeatable. Unbelievable. This Josh Allen slander is crazy. All right, we're going to go to Greg, then we're going to go to Coach. What's up, Greg?
How's it going?
Good, man. Good.
All right. So I got 3 questions for you. So first one,
yes, sir.
context. I appreciate you giving the context this week while you were down there. So
yes,
my
sir.
question is there like anything else from, I've never been to training camp. So is there anything else that stood out to you that you didn't realize until you got there that's worth noting?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also just important, and I mean, I tried to portray this, but maybe I didn't do a good job. I think it's also worth noting that things happen so quick and there's not a replay. So expecting anybody to be 100% right or expecting a group of 10 people reporting on it to come up with the same conclusion is impossible. So I think, it's funny because people get mad when you give grades or you say one player was better than the other. All I can do is give all the context of everything that I saw, give you as much information as possible. Now I'm going to give an opinion because that's what the channel is about, is having an opinion and standing on an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But really the point of me being there and giving as much information as possible is to allow you to come up with your own decision. You may not agree with what my assessment was. Now, I'll say you weren't there, and so it's hard for you to really fully know. But I feel like if I'm doing what I need to be doing, I'm giving enough of a picture for you to form your own opinion.
So with that said, I don't know if you're going to go next year or you're going to keep going, but like if you don't go, how is that going to change your view of training camp next year, for example?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to fully have an opinion without being there. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I would like to go again next year. We'll see. But I just think that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Like I'll say this. I don't know if I'll be there next year. But I know that in years past, I took what everybody was saying as gospel because that's all that we had to go off of.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually being there and seeing how different it is than the way that it's portrayed was kind of a shell shock. I'm not going to lie.
So I guess that's my question is like, how would you like have us, I mean, like, how would we understand, because we're not there, right? So all we can get is the reports from, and everybody's got crazy different versions of what the reports are. How do we interpret that information and get any context out of it when it's all different craziness? And I was just thinking about, you went, right? And you never before. And so now that you had that experience, like, if you never went again, how would you interpret all that data, all that information?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing is listen to the people that are giving you every throw, like the throw by throw breakdown. Like, okay, think about this. If you can't watch, and I always go back to fighting somehow, but well, this is where I'm going to go. So if you can't watch a big pay-per-view event, okay, 2 fighters are fighting, they're pretty evenly matched. You can't watch that fight. And you go to one publication and you're trying to read like the round by round, One publication is just telling you, hey, this fighter won 10-9. This fighter won 10-9. And you're like, okay, but how is it happening? And then you go to another publication and they're giving you like blow by blow breakdown on what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I at least know how they arrived to their 10-9 decision on that round, right? So for me, instead of listening to the opinion, and it's hard to separate, I'm going to try not to listen to the opinion as much and more so listen to what happened play by play and then form my own opinion the best I can based off of that and try to remove their opinion from the equation if possible.
Okay. And so, and then my next question was, I was wondering, like, best case scenario with Brock, starting, we win the Super Bowl. What do you think the worst case scenario is with Brock playing?
Well, I mean, the only real bad scenario is if they don't win a Super Bowl and he's not the answer at quarterback for the future.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think the team will be good regardless. I also think Brock will be good enough to win some games for sure. I mean, we've seen it. But if they end this season and they don't win a Super Bowl and they don't have the quarterback of the future, that's a disaster.
Whew, that is bad. That is bad. All right. I had another one. I forgot it. What was my last question? Oh man. Oh well. Anyway, I can't remember, man. I appreciate you keeping us up to date while you were out there. I hope you had a good time. It sounded like you did, but I like I said, I really appreciate your reporting because you're probably better reporter than some of the reporters we got out there. So I really appreciate it. You did bring a lot of context, and I do appreciate, like I said, you telling us it's good to have fresh eyes, right, to that situation versus having people like Grant there because he's been there for so long, right? He doesn't see those new things. So that was kind of nice. So thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, man.
Yeah, man. I just tried to bring something different. I think what's interesting is Grant kind of started the practice stuff. He made it popular. But I do think that when you've been there year after year after year, like your reporting is your reporting, you're going to report the same way because that's what you've gotten used to. And I think that maybe you've been there so much that you kind of forget some of the context that is very important that other people aren't giving. And so that's kind of what I tried to bring to the table was like, listen, there's a lot of things happening here that I haven't heard about. I thought it went this way, and that's not the way that it necessarily is. So I thought those things were important to share for sure. Did Val leave the chat? I'm sorry, Val. I get fired up over Josh Allen, though. I'm not with the shits on Josh Allen. Dude's a stud. All right, we're gonna go to Coach. What's up, Coach?
Hey, what's going on, man?
How you been?
Good. How was time out there in Cali?
Dude, it was fun. I had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah.
A lot of a lot of tough mornings.
Yeah, man. The only thing that was really tough was like the traffic. It was so unpredictable. I'd leave at the same time every day, and one day it would take me 50 minutes, and the next day it would take me 90. You know what I mean? Like there was just no continuity. So it's like I'd be later than I wanted to one day, and then 40 minutes early another, and it was like, damn, man, can we get like some sort of
that's kind of like here. Like people ask me, oh, how far are you from New York City? I'm like, I don't know. It depends on the traffic. Depends if I leave it, it could take me, if there's no traffic, I could get there in 30 minutes. If there's traffic, it could be 2 to 3 hours.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
So I'm glad you made it out there. So I know a lot of stuff has been focused on the QB stuff.
For sure.
Like I can't, to be honest with you, like I look for so much things that aren't so many news and things that's like not QB because I'm just looking for that kind of stuff. Because for me, the QB situation, it is what it is. Like it's gonna be Purdy. Lance and Darnold are duking out for number 2. I kind of think it's gonna be Lance. I think Lance will be there. And to quite honestly, the way the Niners go through quarterbacks, they're probably all gonna play this year, like all of them. Although for people that want Lance to play, it'll probably be like this will be the one season Purdy plays the whole season.
Probably, yeah, probably. Hey, as long as he plays good, it's fine.
Yeah. As long as he plays well, whatever. Like, it is what it is. But during your time there at camp, like what's one area or a player that surprised you in a good way, and what's a player that surprised you maybe in a bad way, like or a position, like they look a little weaker there than I thought, or they look a little stronger there than I thought.
Yeah, I would. Okay, so I'll work backwards. The player that kind of surprised me and was struggling a little bit, that I'm really, really hoping will take like that leap forward. And he still may. I mean, I heard that Banks last year didn't have the strongest camp and people were kind of writing him off. So certainly not writing him off, but Spencer Burford did not look very good at all. I mean, I thought he was losing a lot in the one-on-one reps. Felt like he was giving up too much headway in the 11-on-11s. And he didn't look as physically strong as what I kind of expected. So I would say Burford was the one that kind of surprised me in a bad way. But like I said, a lot of people were saying these things about Banks last year. So maybe that's a good thing for a guard.
Right.
I don't know. And then there were actually 3 guys that really stood out in a good way. One of them, and these are the 3 that I said watched during the preseason. Jalen Graham, linebacker. We know he's a converted safety, went to Purdue. He was really, really good in the one-on-ones. He was the only defender to consistently win his one-on-one matchups. Like if I would chart, like one day I would chart like 20, 25 one-on-one matchups, and the defense would win 1 or 2 of those. He was always on that list as winning, which was kind of crazy. And then Taco Charlton came in and made an immediate impact. Like you can already see, like this is the reclamation project of the season potentially. Like every year Chris Kocurek does it. This might be his this year. And then the other one that was really, really surprising, and we talk about, what happens when Trent Williams retires, and they're going to have to go draft tackles, which they probably will. But Leroy Watson, who played tight end while Burford was the tackle at UTSA, came in as an undrafted free agent by the Falcons, was unable to stick with that team, and now is here in San Francisco. He was forced to start one of the days because Trent Williams was out and Moore had gone down with an injury the practice prior and did really, really good. He also did really good in the one-on-ones. I think he's somebody to watch for as well.
Yeah, I was talking to Grant in DM. I think I mentioned that I think there's actually a pretty good track record of guys that are, when you transition from tight end to tackle.
Yeah.
So I think it is something keep an eye out. Like even I think it was Lane Johnson from he transitioned. You know who decided to move him to tackle?
Who?
George Kittle's father.
Really?
Yeah, they were like at Oklahoma. They were working out the tight ends to see who could play like some backup tackle, and Johnson was a backup tackle, and they were like, "Oh wow, this guy's got quick feet." They moved him over, and that was that. Yeah,
now his feet are so quick he goes off sides every time, and people say he doesn't. False start every time, I should say. Yeah. Super quick feet.
It's nice you mentioned Taco Charlton. That signing kind of came from, I thought that was just going to be like training camp body, and I do think it is a position of need. I'm not as high as on Jackson as some other individuals are. All his sacks came last year on stunts. So I'm like, well, to me, you got to get pressure. You got to get pressure by just being able to beat your man one-on-one. You can't just be all on line movement. So, until he shows that, I got a lot of questions on him.
I'm curious to see how his season goes. I will say that he did seem to be more refined, and his body kind of makes more sense, I think, for him. What was interesting about him, and this, but in college, they had him fluctuating weight a lot. Like one year they had him come in heavy, then he was super light, and then whatever. I think that kind of messed with him, and I think he's found his right weight now. But he was winning multiple different ways. Like he was winning as a speed rusher, he was winning as a bull rusher. So I'm curious to see how he progresses as well. But they do need him, I think, to be somebody if they're going to go far this year. I believe.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. They need like a legit. They need like a legit guy opposite Bosa. You know, whether it'd be great if it's him. You know, if it's Taco or whoever. You know, insert whatever name, free agent signing or whatever. They just need another guy, legit edge guy outside of Bosa. You know, I will say this, like, right, if you had to pick a position group, or you probably have the most faith in that coach pulling someone out, right? It's got to be the D line or either the linebackers, right? It's one of those two groups, right? So
yeah, Chris Kosterick, man, you can tell why he's a
yeah,
good coach.
If
That was one thing I
Kosterick is like,
noticed.
if Kosterick is like, I believe in this guy Jackson, don't sign anybody else, you're like, all right, fine.
Yeah, then I'm good. Yeah. I'm with
good.
it. Yes.
Yeah, we're good. But you know, I also wanted to say, man, you know, I'm glad you're having a lot of success with your channel. I believe I remember like when I was doing shows with Grant, and you were like, because I did around the same time, maybe you were. I remember you were like you were calling in like for a minute, right? And then you started your own channel, like, and now you're, you know, doing big things, man. So it's nice to see your channel grow, and best of luck to you. And
thank you, bro. I appreciate it. It's good to hear from you, man. Are you going to be on with Grant this year? Or are you kind of taking it?
I don't know. There's been a lot of things going on.
I feel it.
Like you know, I got my baby boy due in next month.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
That's going to be. Is this your first?
Yes, first.
Oh.
Yeah.
Get ready, man. Get ready.
Yeah. So maybe I will. Maybe I'll hit him up and do something sometime soon. I mean, I think he's doing all right without me, but
the Grant's a machine, man. I think he could do all right without any of us. But hey, either way, if you just need to get your fix in, you always know that you got a spot here to call in, man, anytime you want.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I appreciate it. Best to you. Enjoy your night. And thanks for letting me have some space here.
Absolutely, man. We'll talk soon.
Later.
Coach Noah Johnson, man. It's been a minute since I've seen him or talked to him. Congratulations. About to have a baby boy. That's cool. That's cool. Any new parents out there, I always give the same advice. Any new dads, I should say. One thing that, you know, it's funny because they say when you have kids, it changes you, right? It changes your life. And it does. Definitely does. But I noticed, like, at least for me as a father, it took a while. Like the first couple months, really, the baby just needs mom. Like you're so you're zero value. Like all you are is a bottle runner. That's it. A bottle runner and a diaper changer. Baby really only needs mom to survive. So you kind of have this weird moment where you're like, well, this is supposed to change my life. Like I'm supposed to have this connection with this baby and it's supposed to really change me, but I don't feel any different. And I love this baby. It's mine, but like I don't have this like connection that can't be broken. And then a couple months later, like things really start to kick in, and then you're like, oh, okay, here it is. So I always say this to new dads. So if you're about to be a new dad, or maybe you've gone through this as a dad yourself, those first couple months, they kind of can be hard on you mentally a little bit, you know, because you're really expecting things to change. And when they don't change immediately, you're like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's going on? So just let it play out, man. Really, they only need mom. So you're good to go. I have not gotten to these super chats and I feel awful. You guys have been throwing them up. That's my bad. Joe says, I know people going to have a meltdown on this, but I just a thought, be easy. If Trey got freed in a trade, Debo, Trey, and Mitchell for B-Rob, Sweat, and Scary Terry. Ooh, okay. That's an interesting one. I don't think it would happen, but I think that would be an interesting trade. I mean, I think that's a trade that most people would probably do. Interesting. All right. Cryptic says, as we go into the 2023 season at this point, how do you rate Shanahan's head coaching against Harbaugh's? They both never did worse than the title game. They both had a great defense. Shanahan also seems liked more. Yeah, I do think that Shanahan is liked more, which is interesting. I don't know what the deal is with Harbaugh. I thought Harbaugh was a hell of a coach. I preferred Harbaugh's leadership. That's just me personally. I'm not saying he's a better coach. I mean, who knows? But I liked his leadership style. I like head coaches that are CEOs. I like head coaches that don't necessarily call the offense to the defense, but they're the overseer of everything. They have their hands in everything, and they're making sure that things are ran right. That's my preference. Pete Carroll's a guy like this. Who else does this? Tomlin, Harbaugh's brother. So, player or coaches like that, I really enjoy. That's my preference. But I mean, Shanahan's a hell of a coach too, man. He's a hell of a coach. Greatness says that's crazy to me is that how people see the same thing and have different points of view. Grant had the quarterbacks as a subpar day versus Larry had Brock Purdy as a great day. Well, hold on a second. Like, I don't know how you can go 7 of 16 and have a great day, or 2 of 9 and have a great day. Like, people, that's kind of crazy. And especially when one of those missed throws was a pick. Like, you can't have a great day. Now, you could have had good moments throughout that day or had some encouraging moments that leads you to think that that player's improving or kind of getting it back together. I'm not saying you can't be encouraged, but if you're just isolating that individual day, it's hard to say that somebody with those numbers had a great day. That's just me personally. Like, you're really going to have to do some selling for me to believe that one. But I do believe that, I mean, it is hard, but like, think about it like this. I just went and had conversations on Josh Allen. Some people think he's overrated or Herbert's overrated. I don't see that at all. I think a lot of people really thought that Jimmy G was that deal up to even last year. And there's a lot of us that were like, no, absolutely not. We're all watching these games. We're all seeing Jimmy Garoppolo play down in and down out, but we had different opinions on him. I think it's normal. I mean, I think it's completely normal. I think that's why people vote for different presidents, have different political parties. I think that's why some people believe in God and some don't. Some people think some quarterbacks are good, some people don't. I mean, everybody has different things. Like, for me, I value quarterbacks who push the ball down the field, protect the football, and can go win a game solely on their right arm. Like, those are the quarterbacks that I value. So I don't value. I didn't value a Drew Brees over a Ben Roethlisberger. I was always a Ben Roethlisberger guy over Drew Brees. I mean, that's like, if we're talking about two quarterbacks who were very good at what they did for very different reasons, give me Ben Roethlisberger. So that's, but a lot of people would say probably Drew Brees, so it just really comes down to what you value and then what you see in the game, I think, is really what it comes down to. So, yeah, man, that Bosa Hargrave, that's going to be nasty. 49ers Daddy says, I feel like this season is just when will Trey Lance play? Yeah, maybe. I mean, coach just said it. Sounds like he probably will play at some point. Yeah, Ben was a dude. I mean, listen, this is not a who was a better person contest. Drew Brees, by far. But who would you rather have as your quarterback? Give me Ben Roethlisberger. No doubt about it. Like, that's what I'm taking. So, anyways, like I said, two people can watch the same thing, come away with a different opinion, for sure. No doubt about it. I wish, Grant was having some construction done on his kitchen last week. I was really excited to do that show with the Vish and Larry last Thursday, and I was unable to. And I think that would have been a lot of fun because, I was 4 days deep into training camp at that point, and I know Larry has strong opinions, and I do too. And it would have been fun to talk through it. One thing I will say, though, is no matter who you listen to, some people spin it slightly different, but everybody to a T has said that Trey Lance is way better this year than what he's ever been. Everybody's saying that. So, his wife cooked one night and we went out to eat dinner a lot. And speaking of lengua, Had it one night. Lengua tacos. Ooh, I thought carne asada was where it was at. No, siree. That lengua, man. It's a whole different level. Whole different level. You're right about that, third string all-pro. That is one thing we agree on. We do not agree on quarterback. We agree that the taco has to be lengua. We agree on that. No doubt about it. All right, y'all. Listen, I'll be back tomorrow with Sunil. It's been about 6 weeks. Can't wait to do a show with him. And we'll see. Oh, never had that. I've had tripe like in pho bowls. What's that? I'm gonna have to look that one up. All right. Okay. I'll look. I'm willing to have my mind changed. All right. I'm willing to have my mind changed. No doubt about it. All right, y'all. Be easy. See you tomorrow. Peace.